because my brother is a horse too. His name is Balios. He's not here tonight because he can't talk. Now, the only reason I can talk is because I'm in good favor with Hera. You know Hera, the wife of Zeus, queen of the gods and goddesses. Now, Balios thinks that she likes me because of my magnificent people skills. But I think that it's because I have such command of my diction. Diction. What were you all thinking? So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about my dysfunctional family. See, my daddy, he's the west wind. The immortal west wind. And he likes to blow all over the countryside. And one day he was out there just blowing around, having a good time, and he looks down and he sees this beautiful horse. A lady horse. Now, you know how those gods can be. They become a little impulsive when they see something pretty. And he swooped right down and kind of blew up her skirt, as it were. Not too long after that, here we are, Balios and Xanthos. Now, the crazy thing about this story is, she ain't even a horse. She's a harpy, disguised as a horse. Y'all know what a harpy is? A harpy is a creature that's part woman and part bird, and none of those parts are very good looking. She's butt ugly. Breastfeeding was a nightmare. But I think the gods took a little pity on us, and they took us out of that situation, and they raised us. Particularly Poseidon, because he thinks he's king of the horses. Well, one day, after we grown up and become these magnificent stallions that you see in front of you, Poseidon said, hey, let's go to a wedding. I thought, okay, because there's usually other horses at the wedding, I can find someone to talk to in my own language. And Balios and I went off with Poseidon to see the wedding of the sea goddess Thetis. And she was marrying a man, a human man. His name was Atreus. Funny thing was, though, when Poseidon left, we were still there. Apparently, we were the wedding gifts. But that was okay, because Atreus is a good man. And he takes good care of horses. He has a lot of area. He would brush us down every night, give us good food, clean us up nice. Now, there was some kind of trouble on the farm, because there were these two horses. They would start in with that, your mama's so ugly. Like, your mama's so ugly, Medusa won't even look at her. Sad part is it's true. Even more sad is one of those horses was my brother Balios. Still sadder yet is I was the other one. So we lived on the farm. And then Thetis went and got pregnant and had a child. You all know this child. His name is Achilles. Now, some funny things happened when Achilles was born, because his mama didn't like the fact that he was half human. So she wanted to find a way to make him death-proof. And so she stole some food from the gods. She stole some ambrosia. And every day she would take the ambrosia and she rubbed down that baby with the ambrosia. And then every night, get this, she would light the kid up and burn it off, hoping to burn the mortality out of them. Well, if you burn the mortality out of them mortal, they die. That harpy mama of mine ain't looking so bad right now, is she? Well, Achilles started to grow up. And for some reason, his mama just left. So it was just us guys at the farm. Now, Achilles was kind of a snot-nosed little brat, I have to be honest with you. He'd come out and he'd start in on, "Oh, you noble steeds, someday I will take you out, and we will conquer, and I will drive you, and I will be the greatest chariot fighter of all times." And I. He had eye trouble. I wanted to introduce him to hoof and mouth disease. But eventually, as all good kids do, they get older, and his daddy sent him off to finishing school. Now, finishing school for a Greek who was going to be a warrior means that he got sent off to be with the centaur. Centaurs are badasses. And that centaur taught him how to fight, how to wield a sword, how to be strong, and how to be in a war. And when Achilles came back, he was everything that a warrior should be. And he brought with him 2 men to help him with his chariot. One of them was Patroclus. I really like Patroclus. The other one was Automedon. And I like Patroclus because he was put in charge of taking care of the horses, and he was very kind to us. He would rub us down gently at night. After a hot day of riding, he would throw cool water on us and cool us down. And he would give us good grain and give us an apple now and then. But most of all, what he did for us is he let us run. You may not know it, but I can run like the wind. Well, he is my daddy, after all. But me and Balios could run so fast we could go right across the water and not fall in. That's how fast we were. Pretty soon it was time, and we were sent off to war. And let me tell you something. Old Achilles up there with a sword swinging around, and Patroclus driving that chariot, we were invincible. Heads were flying, arms were flying, bodies were splitting in two. Oh, that was so much fun. Every once in a while we'd catch a head in our teeth and kind of toss it back and forth between the 2 of us. That's horse fun. But then came the Trojan War. That war was a little bit different than what we had experienced because the Trojans had gods watching out for them too. It was a little tougher. And one day there was some kind of dispute going on, and Achilles said, "I'm not going to go out and fight today because of Agamemnon and blah, 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 and he stole my wife and blah, 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 and my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah." Which was fine with me because that Patroclus was on the chariot, and so was Automedon. And we went out into the field of battle. And Patroclus had his sword, and he was swinging it, and heads were flying, arms were flying, bodies were splitting, blood was everywhere. It was beautiful. But then one of them gods decided to interfere. He took the hand of Hector, one of our enemies, and helped him with his spear. And as Hector released it, he guided it. We felt the impact. We heard the groan behind us. And we felt the chariot get lighter. Automedon turned the chariot around and hurried back. Before we could even get back, those dirty Trojans had already stolen his armor. And there was Patroclus on the ground, speared with a spear. My good friend, my hero. Balios and I could only stand there and look down on him. It was the first time I ever cried. And Balios too. The fire had gone out of our bellies, the strength had gone out of our legs. We did not want anything more to do with what was going on around us. because our hero lay in front of us dead. Automaton, he worked hard. He picked his body up and threw it in the chariot, and he started to go on, because he wanted to get out of there. The war's still going on. But we had nothing left. Now Zeus is looking down on this whole thing, and I think he felt sorry for Automaton, or maybe he just didn't want us to get captured by the Trojans. Whatever it was, he lit a fire in our bellies. And he gave us our strength back. And we left the field of battle. That night, everybody mourned loss. And the next day, I think Achilles was looking for a little bit of payback. He came down, and he had his sword, and his spear, and his armor, and he climbed aboard that chariot. Automaton was ready to drive it, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts in with this, "Oh, noble steeds, carry me into the field of battle, and keep me safe, better than you did with our brother Patroclus." Say what? How is it our fault that a god threw a spear through the man's heart? At that moment, I wanted to kick Achilles right in his diction. And then Hera whispered in my ear and gave me the opportunity to talk for the first time. And I said, "We will protect you this day, great Achilles. We will carry you into battle. But it was not our fault. We ran like the wind. Our running was fleet and true. And the driving of Automaton was true. It was a god that put that spear through your friend. And let me remind you, young man, your own mother predicted that you would die at this very place." Well, that shut him up. And we went into battle that day. And we went into battle the next day. And Achilles fought like a lion. Heads were flying. Body parts were flying off. But by the end of that war, mighty Achilles had fallen. We mourned his loss too. Because we finally realized that war was nothing but ugly. Harpy for a mama ugly. And we fought in many other wars because we were the sons of eternal beings, immortals. We fought for many years in many wars until Zeus finally said, "That's enough. Let them go." Now we get to run free. Now we get to do what we love to do best, run like the wind. So one day if you're out in the woods or walking along a riverside or in the park, and all of a sudden a gust of wind just blows through the bushes or rustles the trees, take a quick look. You might spot us. I'm the good-looking one.